Good morning. Good morning and welcome to the most electrifying show in sports entertainment. Got new buttons to push. You see two familiar guys, the most knowledgeable people in Jackson, Tennessee. Bill Hamilton to my right, Jimmy Butler to my left. And you see the text line up there right now, 731-343-9929. We've got a great show today. We're going to have Dave McCulley on. Bud from Hardin County's got a great report about a couple of things that need to be on. And, of course, we have the UT insider himself, Sean Sparks at 9:40. Martha Sheffield, the interim athletic director at USJ, will be talking to us as they're part of a coaching search. But they've got things going on. They're even playing volleyball right now. Not as USJ's official team, but they're a travel team made up mostly of USJ girls. And then at 10:20, you don't want to miss this, Lonnie Searcy, one of the finest gentlemen, a great basketball player. He's in 2 halls of fame. He played at Union. If you're new to this town and don't recognize him, you will eventually. He and Dan Rudisell, Rick Rudisell's dad that coaches in basketball, has been at USJ, Bolivar, and was at JCM. And, of course, the end of the show doesn't come until 11, but somebody you don't want to miss, all of you UT fans, you know who he is, the man that saved your national championship title chances without his hit on Bullworth, the tackle, knocking him back into stepping on Stoner's foot. And then the fumble that Billy Ratliff himself will be here with us. And what we're going to do, this is the Lightning Strike Sports Show, and it will be here every Saturday. But we're going to go in and give you, first of all, Jimmy's going to get you caught up on some local stuff very quickly. We had basketball games last night. Then I'm going to fill in with a little bit of tournament information. Bill's sitting on some real news over here. I mean, I have to reach over here and hold him down every once in a while because that's how much news he's sitting on, and he'll float off if we don't hold him down a little bit. And the show is going to be one of those. Won't be able to take quite as many calls today as the ones of you listen to. We are working on our format, and by the time July gets here, it'll change a little bit in July because we're going to have so much football that you can't get it all in your head when football time comes. Jimmy, we had some scores and things happen last night.
Yeah, just a few scores in girls basketball last night. McNary with a 49-27 win over Hardin County. Gibson County, the Lady Pioneers, with a 74-27 win over Milan. Lexington defeated Chester County 52-46. The Southside remain undefeated as they defeat Northside last night 61-17. South Gibson gets a 73-23 win over Liberty. Ripley over Haywood County. This is girls action, 41-35. And Trenton Peabody with a 68-40 win over JCM. A few boys scores. We'll leave the Hardin County one out as Bud will have some details on that game. But Chester County defeated Lexington 54-52. Milan over Gibson County 38-37. South Gibson with a 48-45 win over Liberty. Southside defeats Northside 53-45. Haywood with a 65-49 win over Ripley, and Peabody 76-49 over JCM. And Miss Basketball finalists were announced this past week. We've got 4 young ladies from here in West Tennessee. Olivia Lee for TCA in Division II. In Class 1A, Kylie Reynolds of McKenzie. Class 2A, Jada Harrison of Westview. And in Class 3A, Tamaya Lawson of Southside. On the boys' side, 3 representatives from West Tennessee. In 1A, Roderick Robinson of Middleton. In 3A, Tellen Chapman of Haywood, and Demetrian Yates of Fayette Ware. So a little high school basketball as we are toward the end of the season now.
And we are getting close to taking our first phone call. A couple of things we need to tell you about. The Division II-A West Region Tournament starts today. Jackson Christian plays against ECS at 4 o'clock. It'll be at Jackson Christian. That's a girls' game. And the TCA girls, they and USJ's girls don't play until Monday night, and they are both at home. USJ's opponent to be named between North Point Christian and Tipton Rosemark, and I've kind of got a feeling that North Point's going to be USJ's opponent at 6 o'clock on Monday night. TCA's girls play at 6:30. They get a pretty tough Hardin Academy team. Now, in the boys' action, USJ plays today at 5 p.m., and you'll see that game on the USJ Facebook, and Worthy Road Studios will have it for you. TCA plays tonight at 7 o'clock against North Point, and the same deal. It'll be the TCA Facebook and Worthy Road Studios with the archiving of it. And, of course, Jackson Christian will play an opponent to be named later on Tuesday night at 7 o'clock at their house. Fayette Academy did beat Margolian Hebrew Academy, and they play St. George's today at 3 o'clock, and the winner of that game will play Jackson Christian. And, Bill, before we go to the phone lines, you got any word for anybody? Because he's sitting on some stuff.
You know, Joe, everybody, I was eating breakfast at Umphy's on the way here, and I told somebody it's kind of unusual, but Trey Smith, one of the renowned athletes, he'll be a starting position player. He was taught by Artis Hicks. He'll tell you that. Went on, and he started the first 2 years, but this is kind of unique. His father in 1976 was the captain of the Haywood County Tomcats. So the Brownsville newspaper has had one of their lead stories is a Haywood Countyan might have a Super Bowl ring. My question to you is, will Trey earn the big Super Bowl ring with the victory over the Eagles?
Now, that is interesting in itself, and this show is where you can only get that kind of information. Now, we've got some stories, and eventually we will have what's either going to be called the Lightning Sports News or the BallGame Blitz 60 seconds or 2 minutes of news, but we're going to go straight to the phone line because another man that knows everything about UT except for what color headband Josh Heupel wears, and you may know that. Bud Young from Hardin County, who also knows high school action. Bud, what do you got for us today? I know you got some good stuff.
Well, good morning. First, we got a couple of high school players in Hardin County. He's got some offers. I'd like to bring them out. Carter Smith, our outstanding quarterback, has got offers from UNA and from the University of Pittsburgh, and he's got quite a few other schools. UAB's looking at him. And a couple of other Austin P. He's got other schools, but those are two confirmed offers. Cam Heyman has got an offer from Eastern Kentucky, and Adam Harris has got UAB's looking at him. Our defensive tackle that carries the defense is looking at him. And then we got a player coming down the road, Jackson Burdine, whose daddy, Justin Burdine, played for Murray State. Is a true freshman. He's not started this year, but he's been coming off a bench. The last night he popped in 25 points against Selmer, and he's not been starting. He's still averaging about 13, 14 points a game as a true freshman. And he can break a press by himself, and he'll be a Division I basketball recruit, and he'll start getting offers, I figure, by the end of his sophomore year.
Bud, got a question for you, Bud. Mr. Smith, isn't that the coach's son?
Yes, it is. And he plays a little basketball, too. He's a very good rebounder. He's a backup center on basketball team. He played pretty good last night.
All right, Bud, you said UNA. Let me kind of go back a little bit because the UNA's head coach now was just recently announced, was a former head coach of Bethel University, went to Kansas and came back. UNA was very excited about it. You know, it's exciting to see these local guys getting an opportunity. UNA played Memphis, was not a very difficult game for Memphis, but it's exciting to see some of these young men. My grandson, actually, he's a ninth grader, plays for Jackson Christian. He was invited to the University of Memphis and took a picture, and in the background's got Isaac Bruce locker room. So as a ninth grader, he's 6'2". He said, Pop, they want me at 225. So it's just an exciting time. Football's around the corner. Really looking forward to it.
Bud got another question.
Me too.
Bud got another question for you, buddy.
Yes.
Okay, with Oklahoma and Texas now coming into the SEC July of 2024, heard some talk from Greg Sankey, the commissioner of the SEC, that looks like they're going to do away with the East and West division, just have one division of all 16 teams. His proposal is kind of have three permanent opponents and then rotate the rest of them. How do you think that'll pan out, just everybody in one pool? and the top 2 play for the SEC title.
I think they're going to have some kind of split this 16 up, because we're going to have so many ties, and with people not playing each other every year, I'm going to know how they're going to figure that out. How you going to have? What if you got 5 teams that's say 8-1? If it's a 9-game schedule, what are you going to do if you got 5 teams tied? There ain't no way you're going to be able. You going to flip a coin when teams don't play each other and don't have common opponents, and you're going to have that when you have 16 teams in one division. I talked yesterday for a while on the Paul Feinbaum show, and I talked about that. And the talk I'm hearing is our permanent rivals is going to be Alabama, Vanderbilt, and Kentucky. I'm happy with Alabama. If they didn't play Alabama every year, well, nobody can keep up with it. But Vanderbilt and Kentucky, we beat them last year combined 100-6.
But you've always done that, Bud. I mean,
I know that.
I mean, why? That's not a rival. You got to have at least a 60-40 split. Otherwise, and yesterday, SMU's rumored to go. They're negotiating with the Pac-12. Now, I don't know how they're going to get enough gasoline and diesel money.
Oh, they got it in Dallas.
Well, yeah, they might, but who cares about the Pac-12?
Texas got their own oil well that they gas up.
Saying,
hey, they're coming early too, Bud. You read that? It looks like they're going to.
That come out last night.
Yeah, they're going to move that up.
As I was talking yesterday, I think we ought to play Georgia. Swap one of them Kentucky, Vanderbilt. Swap one of them for Auburn or Georgia. And did you see who Texas A&M's getting stuck with? Now I'd be kind of mad about them. Their permanent rivals is Texas, Oklahoma, and LSU.
Well, that's good enough for that head coach.
It serves him right. I'm like Bill.
but fire ain't fire. And you playing mine's too tough. My motto is, if you win the championship, big uns get in line, small uns get in bunches.
Well, that's
if you're going to walk the walk, you got to talk the talk, and you can't talk the talk. Well, we beat Vanderbilt 74-0, and we beat Kentucky 63-2, or something like that. How's that to hang your hat on?
Well, Vanderbilt, didn't they lose their number 1 running back and quarterback through the portal?
Yeah,
but
it don't matter if they kept them. Would it matter if they kept them? We beat them last year 56-0 with a backup quarterback.
Oh, one Vanderbilt fan in this town, and you know who I'm talking about, Bud, just passed out.
But I mean, let's put Vanderbilt where they are. They're an academic university.
Yeah.
They like the money that the SEC creates, Joe.
Yeah.
But
they support the athletic average
and
in
the
SEC.
They beat that team that was number 2 and 3 in the nation that wears orange in the state, in their basketball arena.
Yeah, but while we got you on the phone, and we're going to ask Sean the same question, but how in the world did that happen? We've got our ideas, but you watched the whole thing.
Watched every second of it. The last 4 seconds of the game, they shut the clock off for the viewing public. Then they give them the ball. They throw the ball in, passed it to the center, who passed it to the guard, who drove to the baseline, and then passed it halfway across the court, and they got the shot off. All that was done in 4 seconds. They never showed a shot clock the whole time. Still haven't today shown a shot clock.
You're a little bit upset then, aren't you, Bud?
I tell you how we lost that game. I tell you how we lost it when Phillips was driving toward the basket. If he'd go ahead and dunk that basketball, we're ahead by 4 points.
Exactly that was a coaching mistake right there.
Coach didn't tell him not to shoot it.
I know that, but he should have informed him if you got a shot, dunk it. He should have known that somebody. But irregardless, how can you do all that other stuff in 4 seconds? Let's see somebody else do that in 4 seconds.
Well, they're just really quick. I told you they were good academics.
Well, maybe we'll ask Lonnie Searcy about that, because there was less than 4 seconds at Bethel back in 1970s, early winter part. We played them, and there was a jump ball with 3 seconds left, thrown up, tipped, hit the floor, bounced twice. J.C. Popwell picked it up, took another dribble, and fired a shot in, and we still inbounded the ball with 2 seconds left on the clock.
Well, Vanderbilt took the ball out of bounds, passed it to the center, top of the key. He gave it to the guard who's outside the three-point circle. He drove the length of the floor, went to the baseline, passed over to the far corner, and they got the shot off in 4 seconds. And they never showed the clock. All they showed is after he shot it. Then they went to the backboard, which was red, showing that the clock had went off. They never showed both of them at the same time. They never showed the ball in his hands before the clock went off, and they never showed the ball, and they never showed the clock. The clock would have saved all that. And then they never showed the clock ever. They didn't show the clock one time. And then after he released the ball, then they showed the backboard with the red backboard showing his time had expired, and then the goal went in.
All right, let me ask you this, Bud. Everybody's been talking about Rick Barnes, great recruiter, one of the best. I mean, back to the Ernie and Bernie show. I mean, this team is very well equipped with players. A lot of players on the sideline. Continues to bring them in. Is he a good coach or a great coach?
He's a great recruiter. I have no problems him staying because football brings in the money. Before we had him, we had Wade Houston, and that whole string of people there didn't win nothing. It keeps the people occupied, and we beat Kentucky every once in a while and Alabama every once in a while, and that satisfies the masses. We won't never win a national championship in basketball. I don't feel we ever will, not in my lifetime.
You can dream one, and that's been the closest thing. You dream every year on paper. Y'all are really good on paper, but you never can get past the first game. And if you do, you lose in the second. One game and done.
Look, that's what I said all along. I'm with you on that. I said, look, the facts is the facts. The man's been a coach for 30 years, and he's got a losing record in the NCAA tournament, and he's went to the Final Four one time thanks to his center and his point guard he had at Texas. And it don't matter what kind of players he's got. He can get to the first round, but you look at the Tennessee team this year, and I heard this on one of the talk shows they had in Knoxville this week. We don't have a go-to guy.
No,
when push comes to shove, who's going to do the shoving? The only man we got two people on our team that I trust giving the ball to, and they act like one of them is a prisoner of war or a criminal. They will not give that 5-star recruit, will not get the ball over 3-4 times a game unless he gets offensive rebounds and scores. He's like Stanley Roberts at LSU, got 15 points a game. Where are you going to get points offensive rebounds?
But
they don't set no play for Phillips.
Let me do this because something you and I were going to talk about anyway, but I've already received a text on my phone. And let me do this, and then we'll talk about that, and you'll figure out what I'm talking about when I introduce it. Folks, use the text line that we have, 731-343-9929. Bill and Jimmy will tell you that when we were working elsewhere, and I will take them on my phone, but we'd rather you use our text line, 731-343-9929. And, Bud, something you and I had talking about, because we want people to know about what's going on in high school and stuff, but the Hardin County girls bowling team, and the boys isn't doing too bad either, but you need to tell them about that. And Texter, thank you for the text.
Well, I forgot about it. I meant to tell you about that. I was talking this morning stuff I'm trying to remember with Coach Smith. Our Hardin County bowling team, out of the last 17, we have been to we've been to 17 state bowling championships they've had. Well, we've won 14 of them, and we've won the last 10 in a row. We have got 14 state champions, and I don't know of any school in state Tennessee that's won anything 10 in a row and 14 out of the last 17. Now, the boys is trying to keep up with them. They've won 3 in a row, and they've won 5 out of the last 7 state championships in bowling. But they're an outstanding crew. David and Jennifer Chanel give them their bowling rink to practice in, and they're our coaches. And they've done it. The record speaks for itself.
Yeah, but let me get this because I want to make sure that we get all the information. We've got less than 2 minutes before we get a hard break coming up here. Very quickly for any of us, anybody else compare to that? I know nobody that compares to the Hardin County girls on the bowling thing. Basketball, football, winning streaks.
Alcoa in football.
But we got about 50 seconds. I know you've got at least one good tidbit left in you.
Ron Burnham last night got his appreciation, 44 years of coaching at Big Sandy, Hardin County, Camden. All last year, our girls was runner-up in the state. He retired this year, and he's an outstanding man and a cousin of mine. I won't throw his name out and thank him for all he did for all the years for high school sports. He's been a baseball coach, boys, girls, basketball, he's done golf. He's done everything.
And he's married to one of my former students, Judy Barker, is who she was in Jackson.
Yeah.
And
she's an outstanding person, too, both of them. But I wanted to she's my cousin. The Barker, she's my cousin, but she's married to him, so he can't help it. I mean, he's cursed. He can't help asking him to. It's not his choice. He can't get out of it. There's nothing he can do to get out of that.
That's right. Bud, we appreciate great leadoff call. That's the way to hit a home run is the leadoff hitter on the show today.
Thank you and enjoy that. We'll be bringing you plenty of callers and good people, and everybody be sure to listen to the the 1040 caller.
Absolutely. He's a great one, Billy Ratliff. Thank you, bud.
Have a good day.
And we are out of time in this first segment. We're going to go to our executive producer and our producer director, Paul Schulze, executive director. And, of course, Paul Schulze is the producer. Well, Paul does that, but Gary Lockhart, who's with us at Hub City Daily. Let's take that time out here on the Lightning Strike Sports Show.
The BallGame Blitz Sports Network by Worthy Road Studios. With over 750,000 views in 2022, we are where you need to advertise. Please subscribe to our Worthy Road Studios YouTube channel and join the other 4,000 subscribers watching local sports, including Union University, USJ, TCA, Jackson Christian, and Peabody. Our multi-camera broadcasts include slow motion instant replay, on-screen scoreboard and graphics, and professional announcers. Thanks to our sponsors who make it all possible. BallGame Blitz Sports Network by Worthy Road Studios, the premier sports broadcast network in West Tennessee.
Thompson & Smith, the area's premier independent insurance brokerage, has been serving families and businesses in the region through its founding companies since 1927. With their many insurance company partners, Thompson & Smith provides insurance products for family, home and auto, contractors, retailers, restaurants, manufacturers, medical and dental clinics, as well as any other business or organization seeking quality coverage, risk management expertise and customer-focused service. Call them today to discuss your insurance needs.
This could be a true story. On October 3rd, a 2003 hatchback struck and killed a deer that goes by the name Buck. I know, right? He now has Buck's head proudly displayed on his living room wall. He tells a different story.
Shot it.
No, he didn't.
And to hide his lie, he took his car to Mitchell's Body Shop.
No, I didn't.
Yes, he did. And lucky for him, they made it look good as new. And as for Buck, the story continues.
Dynamics Physical Therapy, your elite provider in sports medicine and performance. Now serving communities throughout West Tennessee.
At Arrington Funeral Directors, we accept all prearranged funerals. So you may have prearranged your funeral in this town with another funeral home or even in another state, but we accept all prearranged funerals because we're here to serve families.
Downtown is thriving and the Blacksmith Restaurant is leading the pack. From the rustic dining room to the unmatched patio, eating local with family is what we're about. Live local, eat local, relax local.
Can count on. Carlock Automotive, Van Drive, Jackson. Serving the Jackson area for over 20 years. Carlock Nissan and Carlock Prestige, the name you can count on. Carlock Automotive, Van Drive, Jackson.
And we are back, and of course you see me doing a little button pushing. It's actually a better board than I'm used to working on back several years ago and things like that. And we'll have a little fun, and we'll explain some things to you. This is the Lightning Strike Sports Show. It is your Saturday show for sports. A lot of emphasis, though, on high school, as you heard Bud Young kick us off well. We talk UT, University of Memphis, and, of course, I've got a watch calling them Memphis State, but back when Union University beat them 2 times in a row. And we're going to talk to a man today that was part of both of those wins, Lonnie Searcy, 2-time Hall of Famer. The big guest for today, besides Lonnie, are Sean Sparks will be back with us, Billy Ratliff, and on the phone line, and I think he can hear us, and we'll have to test it because we're experimenting with our phone line. Dave McCulley, are you there?
I'm here. You guys are coming through loud and clear, and I love your set. Looks great.
Oh, we thank you, and that's Dave is not only the voice of the TCA Lions, which is part of the Worthy Road Studio group of teams, but he is the voice and he is Assistant Athletic Director, Sports Information, and then his other title is all-around good guy. Dave is busier than the proverbial one-legged man in the posterior kicking contest. He graced us because he's one of our great guests. If Bill or Jimmy is missing, and sometimes when we get the phone lines suited to our, we will have Dave. We'll have 4 of us in here, sometimes 3 of us. Greg Van Story will do the same because we used to have a good time working those shows together, didn't we, Dave?
Yeah, we really did. I'm actually in Tresvant, Tennessee right now on the way to McKenzie. Left Jackson a little while ago. Been watching you guys. Been doing a great job. Boy, it's great to see all of you back and back on the airwaves. But as I said, the set looks great. But I actually have a doubleheader in baseball today. I'll be here for the first game. I'll leave after that. Then coming back home to Jackson and going out to TCA for the big ball game tonight on Worthy Road Studios and the TCA Facebook page. And we'll have TCA tonight in the district tournament. But split the doubleheader yesterday. Bethel had lost their 5th in a row in the first game. First time they've lost 5 straight games to open up the season since 2006. And then came back and won the nightcap. I talked to Bill last night. He knows I got home a little later. And then we're back up for the doubleheader today.
Oh, absolutely. Bethel had they had good basketball season. I know Chris would have loved to have won a few more games, and I'm sure Coach Britt would too. But they've had – how's recruiting at Bethel for basketball? And then we need to mention their football recruiting.
Doing real well. First of all, they both teams took it on the chin. Season's not over yet. They should both win today. They're Wilberforce, Ohio, and both are heavily favored. I think the Wilberforce women are 0-19 in the league, and the guys are like 1-18. So they should be heavily favored tonight. But they'll come back home. They'll have Cumberland University this coming Thursday. We'll have that on the radio waves up here. And then, of course, they close out at UT Southern that Saturday, a week from today. But you're looking at the women, I think, are going to be an 8 or 9 seed in the postseason tournament. Important to be an 8 seed because you get to stay at home. The men, likewise, the men will be at home and the chance to go to Bowling Green. So still a lot to play for, but both of it, the women have really had a tough season. It's hard to figure out. They're a little bit like Kentucky. They look like they've got the pieces. They look like they have the talent. Chris is an excellent coach. This team just hasn't put it together for some reason. I'm not sure why. And I'm around the program every day, and I still can't figure it out. It's been an enigma for me, I think, as well as Coach Nelson and all Bethel fans. It's just I thought this team had a chance to make it to the national tournament and maybe do some damage a game or two, but they're going to be lucky just to get out of the postseason tournament or get in the tournament, and they'd have to have a miraculous run here at the end to do that. But the men in pretty good shape. But football, great recruiting class. They concentrated a lot, guys, on West Tennessee kids. And did a really good job there. So the rich get richer. We're about to release the schedule. I will not do that till Monday because we're working on some graphics for it. But and busy with basketball and baseball today, of course. But release the schedule, and guys, it looks really favorable. They have 6 home games, 4 road games, and I'll just be frank with you. I think Bethel's going to be favored in almost every game except the season finale, which will be Lindsey Wilson. But they get Lindsey Wilson in McKenzie this year, so who knows? This team could run the table again this year.
Dave, I want to bring up a friend of yours and ours and et cetera, Kevin Burton right now. Social media indicated he continues, and at Union, Kentucky, which is a far piece, they would say, one of the best coaches I've ever witnessed and a good friend of mine, number 3 in the nation, and he's already won a national championship in Union, Kentucky.
Sure has. He's the winningest coach now in Union history, and he's been there less than most of the other people that's been there that racked up wins. But talked to him recently, called me about some things concerning some Edgeland players, but checking on them. But, Bill, number 3 in the country. I think they had their regular season finale today, home finale today. And, you got to remember that Union for a long time was NAI Division II. Now they're NAI Division I. They're playing the likes of Georgetown. They're playing the likes of, all the other powerful teams around the country. So, I mean, it's like, I wouldn't say little brother in there with the big guys, but as far, up in Barberville, it's hard to recruit there. But he just continually turns out great athletes, great teams, and they play so well together and they play so hard. And they're just, I've watched them on film a couple of times. They don't just overwhelm you with size or anything. It's not a really big team he's got this year, but boy, they play like a fitted glove. I mean, they just, they know where each other's on the court, and they really just play strong.
All right, let me ask you. You got a recent promotion and as associate AD, you and Mike Jasper. Give me a little tidbit about Mike Jasper. Undefeated as a football coach. The dynamics of winning brings more winning around the corner, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, everyone wants to be associated with a winner. He's really building guys. He got off to a little rocky start there the first year or two, but had a phenomenal year this last year running the table, and then upset in the tournament in the first round. And, that team, Kaiser went on to play for the national championship, so it wasn't a fluke. Kaiser really hit they really hit the gas hard at the right time of the season last year. And but Mike's, Collazo and Joaquin Collazo, the quarterback, he's actually a work study for me right now. And I got to know the kid even better. He's just, first of all, a great kid. He's just a great young man. Got his head on right. Yes, sir. No, sir. I told him to call me Dave. He refuses to do that. He calls me Mr. McCulley. That's the kind of kid he is. But I'm really bought into him even more, not only because of his talent, that left-handed arm he's got, but he's just a great kid of character. I mean, just a wonderful person. So they're building things around him. They'll have to come in with some running backs, I think, this year again, but beef up the line again, lost some defensive linemen. But on paper right now, they look really strong again.
Dave, when does spring practice actually kick off at Bethel?
It'll be about a week and a half, 2 weeks. Jim, I asked him yesterday when I talked to him about getting me the schedule so we could do our annual release. We do that just about every mid-February or 1st of March. And they're setting the date, and we'll have that. I'll let you guys know that as soon as I know it, which should be the next day or two, yeah.
Let me ask you a question, Dave. We'll just say a secret or rumors or whatever. A lot of changing in the high school coaching ranks throughout, aren't there? I mean, I'm talking about there's a rumor going around with your TCA lines. Is it true? Is it not true? Is that just the way life is going to be from now on out? Changes. You got USJ's coach went to Middle Tennessee. Are we just set up for change that's inevitable from here on?
Well, I think it's obviously people wanting to improve themselves. Not that if Blake Butler left TCA, I'm not sure how much he would improve himself. He's the longest running tenured coach in football, high school football in the city right now. But, yeah, there is a rumor. It got out a few days ago, and I think Coach Butler has addressed that. I wasn't at the meeting that he had with his squad, but I understand there was a team meeting with the squad the other day. He quelled the rumors for right now that he's still a TCA football coach. I have heard that there's been no official offer made by the school that's been talking to him, and he's not made any kind of decision. I do think that maybe we'll know something on that sometime next week. Whether the rumor comes to fruition and is a true fact or not, I don't know. I've not talked to Blake personally. Love him to death. I think he's a great coach. I think he's even a better person, and that tells you what I think of him as a person and as a coach. But, there is rumor in their scuttlebutt on the street that he's talking to another school and that or they've talked to him. And as far as I know, there's nothing. I wouldn't say there's nothing to the rumor. I will say there's nothing that concretely has been decided by the party, by both parties involved. Or for that matter, let's say that someone did offer Blake Butler a job. I'm sure TCA would come back. They should, and I think they will, knowing them and being associated with them and loving all the entire family out there and feeling a part of the family. So I'm careful and cautious with what I say, but I would think that TCA would come back. If someone offered Blake Butler a job, or Dexter Williams, I think TCA would come right back and make a counteroffer. So it's yet to be decided on what's going to happen out there, but there have been some rumors, and I will admit that, and I think that's pretty well around the city right now.
Dave handled like a true professional, and folks, this is the reason Dave McCulley and Stephen Aldridge are two of the top SIDs, and both of them hold assistant athletic director's position. Dave, got to ask you about this. Got a texter that, again, texters use the line on the screen, not mine, but two things have come in. Number one, are you doing the play-by-play tonight of the TCA and North Point boys game?
Yeah, I'll be back. We'll do that. It's going to be a video stream as well, video stream and audio. When you get to the TWSAA playoffs, there's a lot of more money involved. But I think some folks have come forward and embraced that, and is allowing us to stand on to do that tonight with the video and the audio both. And we're excited about that. I don't know a lot about North Point. I'm trying to get some things on them today. As a matter of fact, during innings today, I'm going to do a little research and do my prep work. You can never do enough prep work. You guys know that. But we'll do that today. So excited about it. And, it's going to be a tough road for TCA. It's a tough game, I think, tonight, and probably even tougher because the winner of this one tonight between TCA, which is the 3 seed, and North Point's the 6 seed, you're facing FACS, the number 2 seed, next Tuesday. And the gals, it looks like we could head, I'm not sure. I think maybe this side of the district might be the final 4 teams when it's all said and done. And if we could have another looming USJ TCA girls matchup too. So that's been a tough matchup for TCA thus far this year in the 2 games played.
It really has. I can tell you a little bit about their quarterback. It's throwing Jack Patterson, who will be back again next year. And but I don't know. I'm like you, North Point's basketball, and of course they're a couple of 100 feet across the Mississippi line, and, things like that. But their basketball's not as well known as their football down there.
David? Yeah, I talked to my son Nashville this morning. He said, "What are you doing playing the team in Mississippi?" I said, "Well, it's really right there at the county line, the state line." Yeah.
Dave, you have to be tickled with Olivia Lee being nominated Miss Basketball in the state.
Oh, absolutely, Jim. That's a good point. She's such a great player. She's averaging 23 points a game, 10 rebounds a game. And I think what people forget about Olivia, whether they're playing a really, really good team or a great team or a mediocre team, and that you're going to have some of those on your schedule, not throwing any respite at anyone. But the bottom line is with Olivia, she's going to get double teamed every night and sometimes triple teamed. And yet she still averages 23 points a game. She gets bumped around a lot. I'm not anyway squawking at officials. It's just part of the game. People try to get real physical with TCA because they're not a really physical team. They're more of a finesse team. And people really get physical with her. And, she's for the most part has held up. She's had a couple of games that maybe she didn't play up to her expectations or, Coach Coba's expectations. But for the most part, she's answered the bell night in, night out. And I think that's why she should win the Miss Basketball again this year.
Let me ask you this. Union University signee, that's going to mean a lot. Grandparents, parents, and local fans for Olivia Lee.
Well, I think it's wonderful. I think it's wonderful that Mark Campbell signed her. I think it's going to be a great fit for her. It's going to be a great fit for that program. Mark runs such a great program out there, such a great coach. What is the youngest coach to reach that plateau that he just recently reached? Was it 600, Joe? 700 wins? 700 wins. I mean, that's just almost unheard of, and at his age. And I mean, it's just it's just year in, year out. They don't have to. They just keep reloading. They don't have to rebuild out there. And she's another piece to that puzzle. And I think she'll be a really big star in that league. I really do.
Dave, I'm going to kind of switch subjects a minute. Picked up a Lindy's preseason baseball edition. It has the Yankees and the Braves playing for the World Series.
Well, I wouldn't mind that. I don't really care who the Yankees play on the other side, but we're 2 days away from pitchers and catchers reporting to the Yankee camp, and I use that on my countdown to the season. Pitchers and catchers reporting today on social media. But the Yankees securing this last arm, I think that's a big key for them because. I really think they're, obviously money buys a lot of things, and they bought another pitcher for them. But, you got to play it on the field. And as we all know, between the white lines. But I'm really excited about the season. I'm excited about everyone playing, not just the Yankees. I love baseball. And, even here at the college range today, I sat there in the press box yesterday. And we didn't audio the game yesterday. We just video because we're trying to train all of our kids. I've got some people that's got to be out for a couple of weeks. I'm trying to get all my kids trained on stats and all other things. I even trained a guy on PA yesterday. But I sat there yesterday really relaxed and just thinking, man, what a wonderful game baseball is.
Dave, got about 30 seconds of final comment. I'm going to save a question I'll let you think about. Could Aaron Judge hit Satchel Paige was sent to me to ask you. But we'll hold that one in about 30 seconds.
Well, the last comment I'd make, I'm going to go back to my roots other than the Yankees. Man, Kentucky really needs to win in Athens today. If we don't, we may not get into the tournament. I'm a nervous wreck today about this game down in Athens.
Absolutely a good one. We will be watching you tonight and looking forward to that. And let me throw this, and you can hear this too. I've just been informed that Haywood High School events scheduled for today have been canceled as a result of last night's tragedy. I think there was a drive-by shooting is what they're talking about. And
I saw that on Channel 5 this morning. Our thoughts and prayers with everyone involved in that.
Absolutely. Dave, tell the Wildcats to knock them dead today.
And listen, I appreciate that. And, guys, I'm so excited about your show, excited about being a part of it occasionally, and excited about being on with you today. And God bless you all, and I'm really, really happy for you guys.
Hey, Dave, we love you. Thank you.
Love you guys. Thanks.
There he is, the one and only Dave McCulley. And you can hear the phone ringing. We've got to take a time out, and when we come back, we've got to have the man himself.
No way. It's not going to happen.
Yes, it is. Big Orange Man himself.
No way.
The greatest insider in the state of Tennessee will be with us. We'll be back with Sean Sparks and more on the Lightning Strike Sports Show.
Great American Sports. Make sports an addiction. Located at 125B Old Hickory Boulevard, East in Jackson. We specialize in team sports for youth leagues, schools, and churches. We can embroider and screen print team uniforms. We also have sports equipment, Under Armour, and Adidas clothing, and anything else you need for your team sports. You can email or call us for all your team sports needs. Great American Sports. Make sports an addiction.
We realize you have a busy lifestyle, and at the Bank of Jackson, we're here to help you fulfill all of your financial needs, personal and business loans, mortgages, online banking and bill pay, and so much more. Serving the Jackson area for 25 years. The Bank of Jackson, your down-home community bank. You belong here. Member FDIC Equal Housing Lender.
Home furnishings, appliances, bedding, and so much more. Kaufman's. At the Bypass and Oil Well Road in Jackson. Home furnishings for every room in your home. Custom upholstery options too, with professional advice. Major appliances from America's top name brands. Mattresses and bedding accessories. Outdoor living and grilling too. And our fully stocked warehouse helps prevent supply chain delays. Kaufman's, for your life.
Do you want your smile to say it all? At Elite Dental Care, we'll make you and your family feel comfortable and secure with a variety of services and state-of-the-art care. We offer sedation dentistry that will make your time in the dental chair comfortable and relaxed. Come by and see our newly renovated and expanded office in Jackson or one of our other convenient locations in Trenton or Dyersburg. Trust your smile with Elite Dental Care and let your smile say it all.
Looking for a new and exciting career? At Jackson State Community College, we offer nationally recognized, top-rated programs designed to greenlight your career for success. With courses available in the health sciences, nursing, computer technology, and much more, your next step towards a career starts here at Jackson State. Learn how Jackson State Community College can greenlight your future at greenlightyourfuture.com.
King Jewelers is not your typical run-of-the-mill jewelry store. Grover is a certified jeweler with 35 years experience. This isn't just a jewelry store. It's an iconic symbol of love. How far would you go for love? King Jewelers, 16B Conrad Drive, Jackson.
Welcome back to the BallGame Blitz. It's actually, the show is the Lightning Strike. BallGame Blitz is our kind of parent company, as one wing of Worthy Road Studios. Lightning Strike Sports Show, Bill Hamilton, Jimmy Butler. You've heard Diamond Dave McCulley. You've heard Bud. We've getting text all over the place. And now you are just about to hear one of the greatest insiders I've ever had. And we'll remind you that all high school events have been canceled for today at Haywood County High School because of a tragedy, not at the school, but in Brownsville, of a drive-by shooting of what looks like was a high school, and I am getting word now, high school student. And that's just not good. That was in Nutbush last night that actually happened, but it was a Haywood student. Sean Sparks, who knows more about UT. Matter of fact, in his sleep, he can snore UT information. Sean, are you there?
I'm here, Coach. How's everybody doing?
Well, we are doing
great.
good, and a couple of the texts are for you. One, we have a texter that was really excited about Ryan Dameron, and he's coming as a walk-on, but he plays quarterback, so that's big news.
Yes, sir. First of all, just prayers for that community out there. That's heartbreaking, but prayers for that community. But back to Ryan Dameron. He had a few offers from, Kentucky, Middle Tennessee State, Eastern Tennessee State, Eastern Kentucky, but he was just dead set on, playing at Tennessee. I think, a lot of quarterbacks and skill position players see the offense and what's going on over there and want to be a part of it.
Sean, got a question. Had eight transfers come in a big signing class. Tennessee's basically recruiting for 2024 now, correct? Or will they still possibly look at someone in the second window of the transfer portal?
Yeah, they're still trying to land some help in the secondary in the next window after spring ends. They actually had Davison Igbanason, if that's how you say his name, I apologize. But they actually had him in the student directory. He transferred from Ole Miss. Went into the student directory, but ended up taking other visits to UCLA, Ohio State, Michigan, and ultimately ended up enrolling at Ohio State. So they still will look for some secondary help.
Sean, let me ask you something, and it's a delight to have you back. We've missed, and I know the public has, because if you go back, Josh Heupel has brought Big Orange back to Big Orange, has he not?
Well, absolutely. There's so much excitement around, the university in itself right now with everything that's going on with baseball, basketball, softball. But that's the big one. That always, puts everybody a little bit more at ease when football is doing well.
What about Rick Barnes?
He's Rick Barnes. He's the same Rick Barnes he's been for 30 plus years. He's going to overcoach. This is what we see. This is the same movie we watch over and over.
Danny White, $2 million. Is he worth it?
He's the best AD in America.
What did you say? The best?
The best AD in America.
Well, you just lit my phone up.
We have to hold on to this guy.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. But this texter wants to know he's not going to bring his son to coach basketball when Rick retires, is he?
No.
Okay.
No. He'll make a good hire. If you look at Danny White's hiring record, it's incredible. First you got Heupel that he brought to UCF. He's the one that found Lance Leopold, who's doing an awesome job up at Kansas now. He found him when he was at Buffalo. He found Nate Oates, who is Alabama's current basketball coach, while he was at Buffalo. So his track record. He tried to hire Sonny Dykes before he hired Josh Heupel, if we're being honest. So that's another home run. Would have been another home run hire. So his track record speaks for itself.
Sean, got a question about Kelly Harper and the women's basketball team. Have lost several games to, quote, highly ranked competition. I'm concerned the fact that she hadn't signed anyone for the upcoming class. Is she going to strictly just look at transfer students coming in, or the possibility she might sign a high school athlete later on in the year?
No, it does seem like she's going to stick through the transfer portal, which I'm not a huge fan of, building a team in and year out through the portal. For one, it takes so long for these girls to gel, or any players, to gel over this time, and then on top of the schedule that they played and the injuries they've had, and the girl leaving for, to go take care of her mother. It's just, there's been so much adversity this season. But she's still got one good year left to where she's going to have to, next year will be a make or break year.
Okay. We talked about the signing class, some outstanding looking athletes. Have you ever seen a school be able to bring that many young men into school early in 1 year?
Never. And that was, just the belief in the program, all these, and it speaks to the character of the kids that they're signing. Hungry kids want to come in early, learn the system. A lot of the young kids that you hear, like especially Nico, with all the highly, everybody's so excited about him and everything. There was some worries how he would come in. Well, nothing but high praise from all the players. They say he's humble. He wants to work hard. He's asking questions, and you hear about, you hear that a lot with a lot of the young guys.
Okay.
Jeremiah T-Lander, a linebacker, good race, same thing.
Absolutely, and we want to tell you the good-looking young fellow and ladies he's already taken, got a wonderful wife. But the good-looking fellow on the screen that's pictured with us is Sean Sparks, the UT insider. I think Jimmy's got another question for you.
We talked about the 8 transfers coming in. Which of these 8 do you think makes the most impact on this team this fall?
First, you probably got to start on the offensive line. We still needed to build some depth there at the tackles, and we're bringing in John Campbell from Miami, and we're also bringing in Andres Carrich from Texas. That's 2 big bodies with experience. John Campbell, I believe, started the last 2 seasons at Miami, so he's got like 30 starts under his belt. But the probably the main one to look at is Gabe Judy, the cornerback from BYU. Got a nice build. Super athletic guy, has got a lot of football under his belt. Really solid cornerback. I look for him to be a day 1 starter.
We had several young men that decided to transfer out of Tennessee. Did any of those transfers really surprise you?
No, sir. It was more of a mutual, if that's the way I want. I'll put it that way. It was more of a mutual agreement. Just kind of tell these kids, they probably have better opportunities somewhere else.
I think I read on several reports that most of these guys that did transfer out had nothing but high praise for Coach Heupel and the entire university. And I think you make an excellent point that they were probably told that, they might have greener pastures elsewhere if they chose to go that path.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially Taven Jackson. I guess some people found that as a surprise. But Heupel's not just, just a head coach. He's he tries to be a father figure to all these kids. You hear about all the players talk about how really genuine he is. It's not just football all the time. So, I mean, that's always nice to hear. But, yeah, Taven Jackson had a lot of good things to say. And when he looks around at the quarterback room with Nico and Joe there, I mean, he's got to do what's best for him also.
Let me ask you something, Sean. You listen to people in the SEC realms, from the commissioner, Feinbaum, and et cetera. What is your feelings to maintain because Tennessee's going to maintain that interest for football, but what is in the best interest of the University of Tennessee's football program in the scheduling part of that position?
I mean, honestly, it's going to be out of their hands at the end of the day. The big part is just whenever the scheduling happens is show up and compete every Saturday. Regardless, I know there's they're going to go to this 3+6 model where you have 3 permanents and 6 rotating. So that's going to be curious how that works. I keep hearing Bama, Kentucky, and Vandy. So.
Well, I mean, two of them are average at best. At least one of them's average, and then I got to go back to Georgia. Is Georgia the dominant SEC team? Has Saban lost some of the glitter?
Georgia's the standard of college football right now. You heard David Pollack tell Nick Saban that face to face. They're the new standard. I mean, and I can't say that I'm happy, but I'm happy at somebody other than Bama.
Yeah, and Sean, still the fact that Tennessee, I think their posture in college football has changed as well, as they still went into the state of Georgia and attracted some key recruits this last recruiting season.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that staff and Spire, they're doing an incredible job with the athletes they're bringing in. Actually, Tennessee's following Georgia's blueprint as far as the type of guys they bring in on the defensive side of the ball. Length, size, their burst, it's the same blueprint that Georgia uses to recruit.
And Sean, we mentioned, all sports, spring sports kicking off, baseball next week. See where the softball team got off to a pretty impressive start with 21-1 and like 12-0 or something like that in the 2 ball games last night.
Yeah, 9-2 I think was the other one against Illinois. They looked real solid. They swung the ball well. Actually, Nico's younger cousin, she plays on that team, and she hit 2 home runs last night.
So it carries over then, is what you're saying?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, when you hear the coaches talk, even the tennis coach, I mean, they talk about how all these coaches feed off each other. How, used to when they passed each other in the hallway, it was a, hey, how you doing? But now the culture has changed. You've heard Rick Barnes talk about it. Tony Vitello talk about how all of them support each other. So I mean, it's just a momentum. When everybody pulls together like that, it makes a huge difference.
All right, you're the quarterback coach. We've got a game next week, big game. Is it Nico or Milton's the comeback player of the year?
Joe will start the year. It'll be his job to lose. And even let's say we do, lose a game early, if Joe plays well, it's still going to be, Joe's gig until, you're always, every fan base loves the backup quarterback more than the starter. I mean, that you always hear that, but it's Joe's to lose. He's improved. He's the leader of the team. He was really the leader behind the scenes last year. So it's his football team.
And Sean, with all these new players in, have they set the dates for spring practice?
I have not heard anything on that yet. As soon as I should have that for y'all next week, hopefully.
And like I said, I'm sure there will be a lot of interest not having an orange-white game last year. And I'm sure with all these new players coming into the fold that are there in time for spring practice, probably be a pretty good crowd at Neyland when they do announce the spring game.
It's going to be it'll be an electric atmosphere. I mean, it'll be a packed house. Like you said, a lot of new players, roster turnover. Everybody's wanting to see, what the new guys look like, and then of course, everybody wants to see Nico.
Hey, let me jump in with a couple of things. We got some texts that's built up. We know that District Attorney Neil Thompson, who asked about Ryan Dameron, is one of the listeners, and we give him a big shout out. And he's like our Jody Pickens up here. Good, honest man, works hard, and a great District Attorney General. And also the spring game is coming up, April 15th, and the Hall of Fame has announced a bunch of inductees, haven't they?
Now, Conrad Holloway went into the Baseball Hall of Fame, which I was a little bit, I think this week, a little bit surprised. But there's been a lot of great baseball players. But I think the position of UT right now is probably the highest it's been since 1998, Sean.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. I mean, absolutely. And I do, take just a step back also this year. I don't see us winning 10 again this year, though. So the expectation is let's not, if we do win 8 or 9, don't.
So you don't see 10?
The sky's falling.
Why?
I don't believe so. I like the schedule. I do like the schedule. But, again, we still play Alabama. We still play Georgia. So, I mean, that's 2 games right there. And then you always have, there's always that game in there that, there's going to be toss-ups. South Carolina, for whatever reason, I don't think they're a very good football team, but we we struggle with them. So I don't know. I mean, it's going to be curious. And then you got to stay healthy. I mean, there's so many things that go into it.
Sean, we had the baseball team played an exhibition game here against the University of Memphis at the 1st of November at the minor league ballpark here, and it was a packed house. I mean, it was sold out. And I heard some comments from Vitello that he said, man, it'd be fun to play a series there every now and then, but I don't think that'll happen. But it just shows that from one end of the state to the other, just the enthusiasm not only about Tennessee football, but Tennessee athletics in general.
Oh, yeah, everybody's excited about the baseball season coming up. They had a big turnover also. They're replacing all 8 position players. So look for, a whole new lineup. They actually had a scrimmage yesterday, and they're going to scrimmage again about 2:00 today. It's really just a dress rehearsal. It's the 1s versus the 2s. So it's going to be, and then we got the Dolander kid, the pitcher. He's supposed to be the number 1 pick in the MLB draft this year. So it's a good, deep pitching staff with a powerful lineup.
And, Sean, we've got about 30 seconds, and I'm going to get with you this week. I think we're going to have to work on and extend Sean's time. So would you like that, Sean?
Yeah, that'd be great.
And we've got some great information that some of our great texters have been sending us that we will get on. But, Sean, you got about 30 seconds for a final comment, and then I'll be in touch with you during the week.
Okay. Just, it's great to be back on with you guys. The interview or the call with Dave was incredible. He's such a bright dude. I love listening to him talk. But just like I said, it's great to be back on with y'all. Tennessee does have 2 in-state commitments that are silent commits right now. Is a 4-star defensive back, Kamaro Brown, and then 4-star linebacker, the number 1 player in Tennessee, Edwin Spillman, are 2 silent commits that will probably be making it public next month.
Sean, always great as usual. And no, to the young lady that texted me a while ago, Sean is married. We'll remind you again. Isn't he a good-looking guy? Got his UT cap. Don't forget about the Ball Vault. You can sign up for that and get on Facebook with that, and that's what Sean's got in the background of that picture. Sean, thanks, and I'll talk to you this week.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Y'all have a good weekend. Go Vols.
Yes.
The most important benefit when you buy from Jones Chevrolet at Three-Way? Peace of mind. Jones Chevrolet's warranty forever comes with every qualifying new and pre-owned vehicle. Powertrain coverage for as long as you own your vehicle. Find out more at Jones Chevrolet in Three-Way. Championship DNA. That's what you find at Jones Chevrolet at Three-Way. A full line of new Chevrolets plus West Tennessee's largest used car inventory. State-of-the-art service work and pre-approved auto loans online at JonesChevroletHumboldt.com. Shop with a winner. Jones Chevrolet at Three-Way.
The news says Gen Z is struggling. I've got news for them.
I wait tables, but last week I built a field hospital.
I put out a forest fire.
I stopped 1,000 attackers.
And a natural disaster.
I've saved lives. And led a team on patrol.
I serve.
Well, I go to school full-time.
While I work full-time.
The greater the challenge, the stronger we become.
Football looks fun. I bet I would have been great at it. The first football playing Deer, they would have made a movie about me and everything. Probably get Kurt Russell to play me. But alas, me and my dreams run right over again.
For fast, reliable collision repair, trust the experts at Mitchell's Body Shop. And get back out there.
We offer live webcasting for families. It kind of came out of when so many warriors were going overseas to war. We have learned to offer families more choices, that we want to serve our families well and serve our families better.
Buying a home is a major milestone, and at the Bank of Jackson, we want to help you achieve it. Our mortgage specialists can assist you with conventional, VA, FHA, or construction loans, as well as USDA and THDA development loans. Serving the Jackson area for 25 years. The Bank of Jackson, your down-home community bank. You belong here. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
For anyone contemplating pre-planning, we can tell you from our experience, it's much easier to make funeral plans and record them now than wait until emotions are running at their highest.
With pre-planning, you can free your mind and heart from having to make big decisions during a time of grief and instead enjoy the freedom to focus on the memories of a life well lived.
And we are back here on the Lightning Strike Sports Show. Bill Hamilton, Jimmy Butler, Coach Joe Holloway. You just heard the best insider in the state of Tennessee, and that probably is Martha Sheffield. We've got some text we'll get to. And Martha, is that you?
It is.
It is, and boy, this lady is busier than the old proverbial expression of a cat covering up on a hot tin roof. And she's coaching volleyball. She's interim athletic director. She's an athletic secretary, and her and Coach Bullard are at a volleyball, and we'll talk about that a little bit. But people want to hear the overall about the football coach selection, and no, we do not have one, contrary to what was published, not by this station, but by another station. Two, we've got a couple of important basketball games coming up, and boy, the spring sports are going to be loaded, and you'll probably be able to see just about every one of those on the BallGame Blitz and Worthy Road Studios and USJ's Facebook. But we'll let you pick which topic you want to start with.
Yeah, we are super excited about both of our basketball teams going into the region tournament. Our girls finished first in the regular season, undefeated. So Coach Ayers is doing a great job with that program, and they have a bye today, and they get to prepare and get ready for Monday night. They'll play the winner of TRA and North Point. So we're excited about them. And then our boys finished fourth, and Coach Jones is doing a great job with them. They play this evening against Harding Academy, so at home, and both of those games you guys are broadcasting for us as well on BallGame Blitz. So we're pumped that our community is able to watch even if they can't be in attendance. So we appreciate our partnership with y'all.
Now, you don't know, or we appreciate y'all, and it's a mutual thing, but you don't know if Steve Beverly's wearing a bow tie to broadcast tonight or his long tie and a hat. Steve's a very colorful broadcast. He's good, though. We love him to death.
Yes. I appreciate the bow ties.
Yes, that's Steve's calling card. Now, we've got football. Just briefly address the process because, again, fans, there is no head coach selected. The people that put that out, they made a misguided error, but people don't understand. It's the reason we caution people about talking about things. You can hurt people. You can cause problems, but USJ is working on it, but y'all have got a timetable, right?
Yes, sir. We are. It is a daily process, and one that there's a lot of heart and passion going into that selection, and one that is not taken lightly or a quick decision. So we're finding the best fit for our school and our community, and we're just trusting the process for sure.
I would imagine a lot of USJ fans will be watching the Super Bowl tomorrow. Due to the fact that a young man that played some football there during his high school career is playing for the NFL championship tomorrow.
That's right. We're very excited for Trey and all that he's done, and he's been a huge advocate for our city and our community, and especially for USJ. So we are rooting him on and cheering him on, and just so proud of the man that he's become and the example that he's set for a lot of our younger kids at USJ. Just a great role model for our people to look up to.
I think one of the things that becomes a pretty dominant factor is former NFL player Artis Hicks kind of took Trey under his guidance. And if you talk to Artis, and he said, the first time I put him out running, it's about 5 to 6 miles, and I thought he was through. But Trey seems to never let anything stand in his way.
That's right. He's a very determined individual, and we're super proud of him. Never quits.
Y'all had some outstanding young seniors on that football team this fall. Have any of those guys made decisions on where they're going to go to college next year?
They have not. There hasn't really been. We had 2 big signings for our girls soccer program that happened, and then Betha Puchek and Lily Kate Verino are both going to the University of Tennessee, Chattanooga. We're excited about them. And Morgan English signed with Mississippi State, and she's already there doing her preseason spring training, and they're all great young ladies, and we're super excited for what Coach Conway has done with our girls and boys soccer program. But they'll be very good in the collegiate world. They'll all be very successful.
Yeah, I talked to Miss English's grandfather about 2 weeks ago, and he was so very, very proud. Paul Conway is probably one of the strongest teachers of the game of soccer. Goes back to his time at Lambuth University, and he has come over with USJ and done the same kind of work. Strong work ethic, but you've got to be proud of the golden ball that came back with the state championship.
Definitely. And it starts, he's got a great team under him. Coach Brian Castro at Brimps Castro is our middle school, and he develops them at such a young age, and it's awesome. And then his assistants, Leah Blackburn and Matt Pledger, all contribute so big to just developing all of our soccer athletes, and we're super honored to have them.
I think that's one thing that makes our private schools here in Jackson so unique is the way that these young men and young ladies, no matter which sport, start out at the middle school level and basically are kind of running the same system all the way till they graduate from high school. I think that makes an outstanding athletic programs with the ability to develop these young people at a younger age and just continue on that path.
Yes, we are very blessed at USJ to have a coaching staff that pours into kids in all ages. All of our head coaches of our programs were all involved with our younger kids and developing them and establishing just relationships. It's more than the sport. It's building these kids and developing people. And, our head of school, Don Rowe, is always about building people. And that's just what we focus on the court, off the court, in the classroom, just in all aspects of our school.
Well, you've recently completed a golf practice facility as well as a new baseball facility. So when you have people at the administration, you put coaches with them, you put players with them, and you happen to put some of the strongest and most powerful facilities. It all works as a puzzle in developing these youth, doesn't it?
Yes, it definitely does. Our families and the community around us just are constantly willing to help and improve. And it is a full effort from, our youngest children and their parents and then grandparents and alumni. USJ, we're just very blessed to have the support from the community and from all these individuals that pour out to our facilities.
Absolutely. Martha, we have left volleyball kind of hanging a little bit. You had a great team, and most of your team, or a goodly portion of it, are going to be in action today.
Yes, we are. At USJ, we have all of our kids are multi-sport athletes pretty much, and it's really exciting to be able to support them, not just in the sport that I get to coach them at, but everything else. We'll have some softball and tennis and basketball, and they're great girls, and we're going to miss them tremendously.
Yes, they are. You had a great volleyball season, too. Tell the folks, since we didn't have the show back then, but Worthy Road Studios has some of your action up on their YouTube page from the volleyball season.
Yes, we had a great season. We made it into the postseason and came up short, but we were led by some really good seniors. We had two outsides, Carly Hayes and Susanna Pickens, and Addie Measley in the middle, Olivia Overton, Hannah Scarborough on defense, and Grace Sealand got injured early in the season, but she was great on the bench and cheering on the girls and supporting. So those girls will be missed, but we've got a great that's where Coach Bullard, Emily Bullard, and I are right now, is coaching our younger ones and some travel and getting them more court time, but we're excited about the future of volleyball as well.
Well, and your district has grown a little bit as Jackson Christian added a team, and it's not an easy district to get out of because TCA year in and year out is really tough to beat, and then you add having to go through the Memphis teams. So that's a tough district and region, but the state tournament's always the goal.
Yes, always the end goal. Our region is with St. George's and Harding, and they're just North Point has really been strong the past couple of years as well. So if you get out of our region, it's a big deal, and you end up at least going a little bit farther into the postseason, into sub-state and sectionals. So volleyball is just growing and growing. It's exciting.
Martha, I promised you that I would hold this, and y'all may be having a game, and if not, and that's how much she thinks of her assistant in this show, is she called us even if they were playing. And, of course, you and Coach Bullard have a long, good relationship. But we're going to turn it over and give you time to say anything you want to about USJ Athletics. Invite people out there. Tell them what y'all have got going, but it's now your turn.
Yeah, we're just kicking it up. We're full speed supporting our basketball programs and supporting them going into the region tournament and going into postseason. And then we're going to have a very busy and exciting spring with a lot. Our track program continues to grow, and our facilities are so great there. So any chance that anybody gets to come out and watch an awesome track meet, we have almost one a week throughout the spring. And then our boys soccer team is going to be strong. Baseball, we're excited about Coach Giles and having him on board with that. And we look forward to what he does with our boys baseball. And Coach Ayers on the softball diamond, they'll be strong and fun to watch as well. And then our tennis state champs are always exciting and fun. And our tennis courts are just beautiful. And that's another blessing to have that many courts and having our indoor golf simulator and putting green. We're just very blessed. So it's going to be an exciting but busy spring on the campus. And so come on out and support when you can.
Absolutely. Guys, I'm going to ask y'all, normally we end with the final statement. Have you got any questions we need to ask Martha before she goes? And Martha, we do appreciate the time you have taken out of your busy schedule.
Of course.
I have one. The timeline you discussed, when would the public probably see a new football coach on the North Campus of USJ?
No, there's no real time.
I didn't think there was. The public is anxious competitively and otherwise in spring practice.
Yes.
So you might not have a coach prior to spring practice? Is that
Well, we have a great we have a great coaching staff, and our boys are not skipping a beat or missing a beat, but we are actively, when I say actively, every single day, that process is moving forward and one step at a time. But I hope everybody understands and respects that this is not something that our administration is going to be quick to do. They really taking a lot of time and heart and want to make sure that it's the right fit for our program and our school.
They are taking time, and I'll compliment. And if they had to go into spring practice, you've got one Jim Hardegree, and any of the other coaches I leave out, he could do it. He's been a head coach before at Northside and at JC. And remember, he was Lambus coach for a while too. And they've got a young man who's not been a head coach on staff, but I know him personally. I know what his knowledge is. And Bryce King could do it. And y'all have some other capable coaches, but I know more about those two young men's background than I do any of the other football coaches. And they could do it if they had to, couldn't they, Martha?
Yes, for sure. We are not the boys are in and doing preseason. We have Coach Nick Stamper doing all their strength and conditioning, and they are growing and getting ready too. So we're moving forward.
Absolutely. Martha, thank you again. And either you or we'll have different representatives. And then next fall, it's going to be one of those deals that we'll have all kind. Not only will Worthy Road Studios, your Facebook, and the BallGame Blitz have the videos of the games, and they are archived forever, everybody.
Yes.
But we will have Martha, the coaches, players, and next year we'll have some clips of games that will be played on this show, and we're excited, but we're building towards July 1's probably the complete turnaround right now. We're doing the show, trying it out, but from the response we're getting, I think we've got something good, and we appreciate all your help. And folks, Martha is as hard a working athletic secretary, besides inheriting a couple of other jobs, as anybody in the state of Tennessee, because I've got to deal with just about all of them. And Martha, thank you for your hard work.
Of course. Thank you. I'm honored to do it and honored to represent our school in whatever capacity I can. So thank you guys so much for all you do and for your support of USJ and being part of our community. We're honored to have y'all a part of us.
Oh, we appreciate you. Thank you, Martha, and y'all go win those volleyball games. Bye-bye.
Yes, sir. Y'all have a great day.
Bye. There she is, Martha Sheffield. Now, I've got to tell you that Jackson Christian, and we've got a couple of texts that I'm going to deal with. They have, and Martha helped remind me of that. Greg Van Story just texted me and said he can't be with us today. His job, he has a very important job with his company. And, their big dollars go back and forth with the way he does. Bill, you know about that because you're in a position with a company that things you do mean big dollars.
Well, Joe, I think one of the two things is I've been with the superintendent of Haywood County Schools. Tremendous hire. Greg was a part of it, as well as Alan Reed and Betsy Reed, and they're excited about it. I was hard to understand this, the violence that we find in the cities and towns is very disappointing, but I know they're very, very pleased. They had a reception for the new superintendent Thursday in Brownsville, well attended. Talked to the police chief, and they're excited. Blue Oval has created the demand for services that we will never see in our lifetime what's going on in the surrounding counties.
Absolutely. We'll remind you that March the 4th, and I believe that is a Saturday, Jackson, Tennessee, the Legends of Tennessee 2023, that's 23, our year this year, football camp, and I'm looking right at the poster for it that was sent to me by Darby Palmer, the head football coach at Jackson Christian. But these are the people, and because of NIL, you're going to get some people.
Squirrel is coming.
Yes, and Joe Milton is coming. Amari Thomas is coming. And there's Squirrel's picture right there on it, and we'll try to get that thing up for you next week so you can see these fine young men. Brew McCoy is coming, Jacob Warren, and, of course, Jabari Davis, who will probably be on this show next week with us, the former Vol running back, kind of heads it up. And we've got a great thing. We're going to talk about those spring fling baseball stadiums and surprises, and we've got to take a time out, and when we come back, you'll hear more.
Serving the Jackson area for over 20 years. Carlock Automotive, Van Drive, Jackson. Serving the Jackson area for over 20 years. Carlock Automotive, Van Drive, Jackson.
Thompson & Smith, the area's premier independent insurance brokerage, has been serving families and businesses in the region through its founding companies since 1927. With their many insurance company partners, Thompson & Smith provides insurance products for family, home and auto, contractors, retailers, restaurants, manufacturers, medical and dental clinics, as well as any other business or organization seeking quality coverage, risk management expertise and customer-focused service. Call them today to discuss your insurance needs.
Dynamics Physical Therapy, your elite provider in sports medicine and performance. Now serving communities throughout West Tennessee.
At Nest Realty Jackson, connections and relationships are at the heart of everything we do. We wake up every day with the goal of helping our agents build trust, relationships, and community. Let's connect.
Downtown is thriving and the Blacksmith Restaurant is leading the pack. From the rustic dining room to the unmatched patio, eating local with family is what we're about. Live local, eat local, relax local.
Great American Sports. Make sports an addiction. Located at 125B Old Hickory Boulevard, East in Jackson. We specialize in team sports for youth leagues, schools, and churches. We can embroider and screen print team uniforms. We also have sports equipment, Under Armour and Adidas clothing, and anything else you need for your team sports. You can email or call us for all your team sports needs. Great American Sports. Make sports an addiction.
Turn to the experts. Since 1955, Garrett Plumbing and Heating has been the leader in plumbing, heating, and air conditioning service and installation for West Tennessee. A proud supporter of USJ Bruin Athletics, we are your local Carrier Factory authorized dealer. Call Garrett Plumbing and Heating 668-3339 for all of your plumbing, heating, and air needs.
And we are back on the first edition of the most electrifying show in sports entertainment, the Lightning Strike Sports Show. And we will be adding features. This one's not necessarily a trial show. It is the first show, but we're going to be adding all kinds of features. And in just a matter of moments, you're going to have one of the finest young men, and I call him a young man even though he's a year or two older than I am, a man that I have great memories of, and I'm going to say this before he gets to talk. I appreciate all the kind treatment because I was a knot-headed freshman when he was a senior, and all the guys joked with me, but this gentleman was extremely kind to me. His dad was a virtuoso of wisdom and loved him coming to practice or before sometimes. And Lonnie, I want to make sure I got the phone lines right. Are you there?
I am there, Joe. How you doing?
Well, even better since you have called. And like I said, I never told you, but I appreciated all the kindness. This guy treated me like I wasn't a knot-headed freshman. He'd joke with me sometimes, but you were so kind to me and showed me the ropes, and I still am eternally grateful. And in my teaching and coaching career, Lonnie Searcy had a big influence, just like Billy Henry. And
well, I appreciate that, Joe. Thanks for saying it.
And, of course, you were smart enough to marry Camille Long. And, of course, Reverend Long was one of my favorite guys, just like your dad. But let's get down to the real story. People have asked me, and they haven't been satisfied. You've got some great articles in papers, the Unionite, Cardinal and Cream info and stuff. But they want to know, Lonnie Searcy, when did he start playing basketball, and where he went to elementary and where he went to high school?
Okay, Joe, it started a long time ago, and I don't know how many people are still out there our age still remember, but I was born in Bells, Tennessee, and that was a time where integration hadn't started. So I went to elementary school in Bells Elementary, but that was also the black school. It was not integration hadn't started. So once we finished the 8th grade, we all, people from Bells, people from Alamo, people from Murray City, Friendship, Crockett Mills, anything in Crockett County, all got bused to Central High School in Alamo. And that was I started there in 1962 at high school.
And was a good academician, and your dad and mom wouldn't have let you be anything less than that, but an outstanding athlete. And, of course, the time that most of us got to know Lonnie Searcy. Did you play any other sports, though? That was the other question that some of our texters had sent me. They want to know, were you just a basketball player, or did you do anything else at Alamo Central?
Alamo Central only had basketball, but I don't know where you remember, Joe. My dad tried out and played a little bit for the in the Negro League.
Well, I was going to ask you about that. He was a dandy baseball player.
Yeah, he played for the National Elite Giants. But I played American Legion baseball. I pitched and played first base.
I can see that happening. I'm going to hopefully don't ruin the interview a little bit, but Lonnie went on to be a pretty fair high jumper at Union on our track team, and did some other things. But as the notes here that I have, you obviously broke the racial barriers at Union. People say, oh, he was just the first athlete and they recruited him. No, you were a student too, and you were also the first African-American student at Union University. And obviously some of those days were difficult, but you had a bunch of special teammates. Could you talk about them a little bit?
Yeah, Joe, if you can remember now, I came to Union in the summer of '66, and there were two signings. Back in '66, freshmen couldn't play ball, varsity ball, unless, Union had a dual affiliation. They were NAIA as well as NCAA. So there were two signings. I had signed with Union, and Perry Wallace out of Nashville Pearl has signed with Vanderbilt. So, but Perry couldn't play because he was a freshman at NCAA Division I school. So I was only black that played in the Southeast for that first year.
You're right.
And so that was a major signing there. But my teammates, Danny Russo and Danny lives here in Jackson. I see him a lot, and we talk, and every now and then we go out to eat. David Marsh, who's 5'7", if you stretch him out real good.
Yeah, like me.
And but they wound up being a little All-American there at Union. And Ken Hain, who just recently deceased. We went to the funeral here a couple months in Memphis. We lost him. Darryl Garrett, we lost back in, I think it was 1983.
Yes.
Somewhere in there. Ed Brawley, Billy Howard, who's lives in Oakland, Tennessee, so I see him quite a bit. And we tried Dave Gray. He's in Albany, Illinois, I believe.
Yeah, he's back up in Albany. I got to ask you this because I just got a text, and you and I know Big Ed well, but somebody was concerned. He's well over that heart attack he had a couple of years ago.
Yes, he is. As a matter of fact, last time I talked to Ed, which is about a month ago, he was up in Illinois at his grandson's basketball game. So he was up and about and traveling. So he's doing fine.
Lonnie, let me ask you something. As a sports fan, I can remember sitting underneath the goalpost in the old Union. Kentucky Wesleyan would come in. Your team, I knew every one of them. Garrett had the left-handed shot from the corner. Marsh could pick your pockets and go home and eat lunch and come back and pick it more. Your camaraderie, it was some of the best basketball that I ever witnessed. I saw high school teams. I saw the industrial teams from Ripley and et cetera. But the skill levels at Union in that time, in my opinion, were Division I, and it didn't matter which Division I. How was the coaching? Because they had to see something in y'all that and I want you to talk about the Ole Miss scrimmages and how you as an individual felt, because I happened to be on Lane College Board of Trustees for 12 years, so I probably had some of the same emotions that you might experience at, we'll say, Ole Miss.
Well, Union, to me, played a Division I schedule. We played Memphis State, University of Memphis. They were Memphis State then, who we beat them in my last 2 years. A little old Baptist school beat Union from Memphis State. We played Kentucky Wesleyan, Western Kentucky. We played Southeast Missouri. So to us, it was like a Division I schedule.
Lonnie, I got to interrupt. Do you remember when Dave Whitney had just taken the job, and you know how successful he was at Alcorn State, and they came in with a very proud basketball team and left Jackson with a loss to Union University?
Oh, yeah. It was the team we had was a good combination. It was and we got along well. But, back then we did things different than they do now. We all ate together. Pre-game meal together, post-game meal together, we went to movies together. So it was a good bonding of the guys with different backgrounds. I'm not saying that we didn't have our ups and downs like everybody else does. Everybody's gonna go through something. But as far as playing like at Ole Miss, Union always scrimmage Ole Miss every year. Down at at that time was the Tad Smith Coliseum.
Yeah.
And the first time they figured out they knew that I was coming, they canceled the scrimmage. So Coach Henry told them, he said, look, if you can't bring Lonnie, we're not coming at all. So they gave in. And so we went down to, I guess I was the first one really actually to even step on the court at Tad Smith at that time. So that was 1966. So that was interesting. But, we played schools, in Florida Southern, Stetson. So we had a camaraderie of guys that from different backgrounds that got along and played well together.
Lonnie had to play Bethune and Cookman too. And Lonnie, your teammates were solidly behind you. They would not have set foot in Ole Miss's gymnasium if they wouldn't let you come. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, because I didn't get to make that trip. I was a little younger, but Coach Henry told me one time that they still made us come in through the back door to Tad Smith Coliseum.
This is true.
And guess what? Your teammates were with you 100%. Rudy, all of them, even the ones that have passed on, they were solidly behind, and they loved you to death.
Well, I'm gonna tell this, and some people know it in Jackson. And at the end of the basketball season, Joe, I don't know if Coach Henry ever told you this. Union basketball team was always invited to go to a certain church in Jackson, Tennessee.
But go ahead and tell that story, and I know.
And before we got the invitation, Coach Henry and I was called over to the president's office, and I was told the invitation was extended to the basketball team, but I couldn't go.
Yeah, and that wasn't right. And the guys didn't go anywhere without you.
No, they refused to go.
Yep. And that's the guy. And we loved Lonnie, but Lonnie loved us, and it wasn't the one thing. To be honest with you, Lonnie, and I hope I don't say this wrong, we didn't see color in each other at all.
No, we did not.
And, of course, Marsh knew that I'm half Native American. A lot of people don't know that. And he never treated me any different. Now, he did act like an East Tennessean sometimes. And, you know, there's nothing like us good old West Tennessee guys and stuff. But, Lonnie, what was your favorite game? Then I'm going to turn it back over to – because I know of one that I think should be your favorite game, but there may be others at Union.
I guess it had to be the Kentucky Western game.
Yes, 15 jumpers from that corner, wasn't it?
Yeah, I wound up being, I don't know what was wrong that night, but I wound up being 15 out of 16 from the field.
Absolutely. Don't let this man fool you.
That's Bill Walton's numbers.
He had great, yes. He had great shot and stuff. And, of course, now Big Ed was big, but he was a little slight on the jumping. Lonnie, I can't remember you not jumping center for us. You may remember one of those, but Lonnie had springs in his legs.
Yeah, Ed was when he came. Ed transferred from Memphis, Memphis State, and Ed was 6'8", I would say 260, easy, and he took up space.
Yes,
I mean he took up space. You know.
Can I tell him what you weighed at one time?
Go ahead, Joe.
Well, I have one of the press guides that had you at 167 pounds. I've been asked, did you really weigh that little? I know you weren't much over that, but you were thin, son.
Yeah, I know, and that is true. I did weigh that much.
Okay, Jimmy's got a question, and then I want you to say something because, folks, if you don't know, Lonnie's dad and mom were super special people, and he's got the most wonderful wife who was a good-looking lady at Lane College, and she'd come down and watch her game, and he's got a wonderful, very nice, mannerly son named Justin. But Jimmy's got a question for you. Talk about that.
Yes, sir. Mr. Searcy, those two wins over Memphis probably did as much to put Union on the basketball map in the state of Tennessee as probably any games y'all won.
And it did. You know, at that time, Union had formed a boosters club, and that was the place to be. If you were in Jackson, and especially if you owned a business, you wanted to be in the Union Booster Club. Like I said, we played like a Division I schedule, but the two wins over Memphis, it just really ignited everything.
It really did. Have you still got your key ring they gave us after that?
Yes, I do.
I do too. Lonnie, yes, I got to jump in because of the time. I want you to mention your dad and your mom and your lovely wife. And like I said, of course, I knew her dad. He actually subbed for me some besides being a preacher. He would. But we've got a couple of minutes, and then we got to take a timeout.
Well, Mom, like I said, my dad, they're from Bells, Tennessee, and my dad played a little baseball with the National League Giants, but he also was a porter on the L&N train. And my mother did domestic housework, and they would come see me every game I played, whether it was high school or college. Camille wound up teaching at Union.
Yes.
She was at Union for 22 years. She worked at Lane for a couple of years, but then she got an offer to come to Union, and she was at Union for 22 or 23 years, something like that.
Lonnie, I know I've seen you at several Union games. Do you still support the Bulldogs?
Yes, I do. As a matter of fact, I was there for the Christian Brothers game, 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, I was going to say, I saw you in the crowd at a girls' game.
Yeah, Joe, I got a question for you.
Okay.
Christian Brothers, do you know what we used to do, how we used to practice before the Christian Brothers game?
Oh, I remember we had some odd ones. I remember that little De La Salle gymnasium we played in.
Well,
we kind of got screwed that last time we played them down at Memphis.
if you remember, Coach Henry's turned half-out lights out. in
Yes,
practice.
because that De La Salle was horrible. Lonnie,
Yes.
I've got less than 30 seconds, but if you don't care, I'm going to announce you, and I'm going to hold you to that promise. We're going to get Lonnie in here for a show by himself, not necessarily only say we're going to tape it. We're going to let y'all know when it is, and this is one of the most interesting, fascinating, successful people, and he's a real human being. But I can see time is running down on us. Lonnie, thank you for being on, and I am indebted to you. I owe you a lunch for this.
Oh, I'm gonna keep that. I'm gonna keep it. You got witnesses. It's on the radio, so everybody.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And thank you. There he is.
You're welcome.
Let's go to a timeout. We'll be back after this.
The BallGame Blitz Sports Network by Worthy Road Studios. With over 750,000 views in 2022, we are where you need to advertise. Please subscribe to our Worthy Road Studios YouTube channel and join the other 4,000 subscribers watching local sports, including Union University, USJ, TCA, Jackson Christian, and Peabody. Our multi-camera broadcasts include slow-motion instant replay, on-screen scoreboard and graphics, and professional announcers. Thanks to our sponsors who make it all possible. BallGame Blitz Sports Network by Worthy Road Studios, the premier sports broadcast network in West Tennessee.
Thompson & Smith, the area's premier independent insurance brokerage, has been serving families and businesses in the region through its founding companies since 1927. With their many insurance company partners, Thompson & Smith provides insurance products for family, home and auto, contractors, retailers, restaurants, manufacturers, medical and dental clinics, as well as any other business or organization seeking quality coverage, risk management expertise and customer-focused service. Call them today to discuss your insurance needs.
This could be a true story. On October 3rd, a 2003 hatchback struck and killed a deer that goes by the name Buck. I know, right? He now has Buck's head proudly displayed on his living room wall. He tells a different story.
Shot it.
No, he didn't.
And to hide his lie, he took his car to Mitchell's body shop.
No, I didn't.
Yes, he did. And lucky for him, they made it look good as new. And as for Buck, the story continues.
Dynamics Physical Therapy, your elite provider in sports medicine and performance. Now serving communities throughout West Tennessee.
For those who have forgotten, because it's been a while, the score is TCA 53. Our Eagles of Jackson Christian School 52. This is going to be one of those games where it's a shame that either team loses, right? Okay, they've got two long receivers. Let's see if they run them down towards the baseline or start them down and go back. They're going hard to the baseline. There's the home run ball. Mosley's got to take
Shoot
a
it,
three.
Jay.
Jalen's three is short.
Oh!
It is good.
It's in! Jalen Mosley! Oh my gosh!
Now Dexter is going to ask for offensive basket interference.
Coach, that's in. Eagles win.
If the referees are off the floor, this ball game is over. Holy cow. Eagles 55. A little early on TCA you just saw the 53 TCA Jackson in a real slobber knocker, white knuckler, whatever you want to call it.
An all-state defensive back. What a play he made out of that.
And we've got on the phone line Billy Ratliff, and before we bring Billy up, I want to remind everybody, Jackson Christian, Darby Palmer, we're doing this for him, and we'll have more Jackson Christian, just like more TCA and USJ stuff too, that the Legends of Tennessee football camp will be there March the 4th. Their instructions, and you can call Jackson Christian if you need to find out how to enroll in that. And on the phone line, a man that deserved to be on the very first show after we've changed who we're working for Worthy Road Studios, the BallGame Blitz, Billy Ratliff. If nothing else, UT fans you don't have a national championship without this man. But there was more to Billy Ratliff than that. He's a great football player. He's an entrepreneur. He's been a talk show host. And, Billy, we are glad to have you on the show with us again. And even though this is the first one, we've had Billy on before. And I want to make sure we do have you piped in, don't we?
Yes, I'm here, man, and I'm thankful for you guys having me on today. And it's been a while since I've done a show, and I got goosebumps right now, man. Just excited to be here, guys.
Well, this was the right place to have you as on the first show, and we were excited about having you. And there's more to Billy Ratliff's career, and I don't know if you got to hear Lonnie Searcy, who was the first African-American basketball player, but even more important than that, he was the first African-American student at Union University, and he actually played before Perry Wallace played in a college game at Vanderbilt. They both got recruited the same year, but, the SEC and at once upon a time, Division I NCAA had that old rule that you couldn't play as a freshman. But refresh folks a little bit about where you grew up, went to high school, and what position you played in high school.
Oh, so I grew up in Magnolia, Mississippi. I went to South Pike High School in Magnolia, Mississippi there. I played middle linebacker in high school, believe it or not. Offense. I didn't play too much offense because I didn't like to get hit, especially if you were getting hit the way I was trying to hit you.
Absolutely.
I did play tight end and running back in high school. Whenever they needed me, and typically when I did play offense, I just got the first down and I went out of bounds. I can have a whole open field for a touchdown. My goal was just to get the first down because I didn't want to get hit. College, I came in and as a middle linebacker at the University of Tennessee in 1995. I redshirted my first year after having a little shin splints in my shin, and I redshirted my first year there. And I put on a lot of weight when I got to Tennessee. I was a small guy in high school, but once I got to Knoxville, I was about 245 pounds. And back then, they did like the big linebackers back then, but, things changed when my coaches switched my position to defensive end. And that was a whole nother story when they did that. Coach Former, he did a good job of converting guys, big guys that was really fast to put them on the D-line. And I remember him bringing me in the office and telling me that, hey, guys, I need to, Billy, I think you're one of our best 11 players on this team, and I think what we're going to do, we're going to move you from linebacker to defensive end because I think you're one of our best guys. And I remember when he did that, I'm a freshman, and he moved me to defensive end, and I thought I was going to be, playing, starting. But little did I know that I was getting put behind one of the best defensive players to ever play at Tennessee. And that was number one, Leonard Little.
Leonard Little. Yeah.
And I was like, oh, my gosh, Coach, I think Coach lied to me. But he didn't. There was so many schemes that they had me on the field that I was playing, starting with Leonard. And it was a good situation because I ended up playing a position that was really easy for me because I was, a lot faster than most of the offensive linemen. And once I learned the position, it became fun. And I ended up becoming a defensive tackle. So, I'll go from 245 to 265 to 285. And, by the time I left Tennessee at defensive tackle, I was 291 pounds. And, guys, I say I was the fastest I had ever been at my heaviest. I think my fastest time running the 40-yard dash was a 4.56 at 291 pounds.
Billy, got a question for you, my friend.
Talk to me.
Back when you were playing at Tennessee, there was no NIL, not a lot of transfers. What is your thoughts on the athletes being able to make some money besides just going to school?
Well, I'll tell you this. I was actually just talking about that with my oldest son. You know, he went to Georgia Southern and played college ball too, and he talked about the NIL and even at the high school level how the NIL is. I actually love it, man. I mean, it's the kids got a chance to make their own money. And what I say about this, they got to go out there and convince these companies that they are worth their money that they're going to receive. It's not a gimme that you're going to automatically have NIL, and I like that because the kids still have to earn the money. Now, the amount they're getting is crazy, but, if these companies are willing to pay them that much money, so be it. And, I'll tell you this here, like when I was in college, I wish we had, an NIL in a sense, but the kind of money that I was wanting back then, it wasn't nowhere near the amount that the guys are getting now. The amount that I was thinking back then, I was thinking more, if I had an extra $300 a month, how much easier it would have been to be able to be efficient for everyday living at the University of Tennessee. And it sounds as if, how can you guys not have it? But you already, you got full scholarship. You have everything taken care of. And I'll say, yes, we did. But everything wasn't taken care of. Because when I tell people the amount of money that we got once we moved off campus or wherever we had to move out of the dorms and everything, we got $499. It was a $499 check that we received monthly to pay our monthly bills living off campus. That's rent, cable, light, whatever you have to do, or the expenses. And I think, guys, I mean, $500, that's not enough to do anything ever. So when I was saying an extra $300, I was saying more of my necessities as far as, my soap, toothpaste, or stuff like that, and there's some kids, their parents couldn't afford those things. And that's the thing that I wish they kind of figure out a way to cap it or whatever, but, because millions of dollars given to an 18-year-old kid, I'm sorry, that is too much. It is, because it's creating a habit that the guys don't have to work hard for, and they give it to them in a sense, but I understand the hustle in a sense what they're going through.
Yeah.
Now, the fact that they can't work, even if they wanted to, because the schedule that they have, they don't have enough time to go get a job, unless they're going to do it, midnight after they done all the stuff they had to do to be able to keep the scholarship that they do got. But yes, I do. I like the NIL, but I still think there's some things that needs to be done to govern it in a sense.
Billy, I got to ask you this. Did you ever hear the story, and this was long before you probably were a very young man and your mom was probably still taking good care. There used to be a kid at Texas they rumored that was a very good player. They gave him a scholarship, but he had a little part-time job that we went through a period where they'd allow a little bit of work. But his job was watering the football field. You could do it if you kind of like you saw Rudy Rudiger do in that movie and all that. But they had an AstroTurf football field, and they paid him to water the field. Did you ever hear any of those stories? Billy, did we lose you? Hello? Billy?
Hello? Are you there?
Got you. Yeah, we got you back. And did you ever hear any of those stories?
I lost you there when you asked that last question. I lost you there.
Yeah, well, we'll repeat it. Did you ever hear any of the stories like the one at Texas, which I want to say is either Sports Illustrated, one of those magazines, said that they actually had a kid, pretty good football player, won't call names, on scholarship, and his job was to pick up a little extra money, was to water the football field, but they had an AstroTurf football field.
I haven't heard that story.
That's you've made some great points on the NIL, and it would have been nice for your group. $300-400, you're right, was not enough. Sometimes you have to take your girlfriend out. You want to buy mom a Christmas gift and a birthday gift, dad the same way, etc., like that. And I believe one time I was talking with Arian Foster, and I think he went public with that story. He had called Coach Fulmer up and said, I got to have some food. I'm out of money. And it was past meal ticket time because, if you had a meal ticket, there were certain times it wasn't open for that, and they need that. But if you want to comment on that, and then I think Jimmy and Bill's got some questions for you.
I think I heard something about that, but I mean, I never really had that issue of like not having food or anything to eat when I was off the campus or anything like that, because I mean, I had a community, I would call it. I have friends like my lady friends, like I go over their house or I eat over there or something like that. I never had that issue. I mean, it was tough. It was. I will say that if I didn't have those friends that will, feed me in a sense, I think it would have been that way too. But I got to campus when I was 16 years old. I mean, I always had to figure out how to take care of myself too.
Billy, let me ask you a question. Tell a little bit about the story that Joe was talking about with the national championship, the play you made, how it transpired, and this many years from that occurring, what memories immediately come to you?
I think we've got to disconnect again somehow. Billy, you still there? Oh, we lost him. Yeah, and what we'll have to do, Bill, go ahead. And
I got a call earlier. I got a call earlier. This is one of those calls you don't want to receive. We have lost two TSSAA officials. One of them is a noted baseball fan of Vanderbilt Commodores. His name was Goose Jones. I understand his visitation will be tomorrow, and Kenneth Newsom. So the collection of officials that get beat up every game, 50% of the people don't like them, and the other 50% probably wouldn't take them out to eat. But they are the key to high school athletics. And two of our officials have gone to the glory days of heaven, and that is Kenneth Newsom and Goose Jones. People knew Goose Jones from his passion and love with the Vanderbilt Commodores, and to their families we say blessings and prayers to both families, Joe.
Yeah, we do, and I hate to hear that because I knew both of those officials, and they were fine men and officials too. We apologize for Billy Ratliff's interview being interrupted, but and we had a good question for him, and we've tried to get him back, but it keeps going to voicemail. I'm going to try one more time. Jimmy, anything you need to tell him?
Not like I said, Bill was mentioning his recovering that fumble against Arkansas, and without that play, Tennessee would have not won the national championship. So, I mean, that goes down in history as probably the biggest fumble recovery in Tennessee football history.
And one of the games I remember, I actually had 2 tickets to this game, and that was Tennessee at Notre Dame, and I gave them away, Jimmy. And that was one of the biggest comebacks.
Yeah.
If you're talking about comeback wins. And it was interesting today, Sean Sparks making a comment he didn't think we'd win 10 games this year. And I was a little bit intrigued by that because it appears that now you don't have the young man that caught 5 touchdowns against Alabama this year.
No.
But you do have, I call him Nico is who I call him.
Yeah.
With Milton, you still got a lot of athletes up on the hill, Jimmy.
Yeah, no doubt. And I just looking at their schedule, they open up with Virginia in Nashville. I'll probably win that one. They've got Austin Peay. That should be a win. They go to Florida. I'm thinking Tennessee will probably be favored against Florida. Got Texas, San Antonio at home, South Carolina at home, Texas A&M at home. Then they go to Alabama. They go to Kentucky. They got UConn at home. This is football, not basketball. They got
Gino's coaches. Does he coach football?
I don't think he does.
Okay.
They've got Missouri on the road, and then they finish up at home with Georgia and Vandy.
Absolutely.
I'm going to say, I say they get 10 wins.
I was just astonished. And to the listeners, I'm going to tell everybody about it. And I think, Joe, you've got secrets with people that will be coming on the show, and it's really an exciting time for journalism in Jackson, Tennessee, and the world.
Absolutely right. Thank the texters for the spring game is April 15th. UT Sports Hall of Fame has come out. Chris Burke will tell you more about these people. Joan Cronin, Ted Daffer, Tiana Madison Bartola, and Carl Pickens will be going into the Hall of Fame. And we will have more local sports and football, etc. And we are just about to run out of time on here. Billy Ratliff sent us a text, said, I'm not sure what's going on with this phone, guys. I am so sorry. We appreciate Billy, and we're going to get Billy back because we got to pick up right with him what his thoughts were, like you were asking about, Bill, before he hit an All-American tackle and drove him into Sterner, stepped on the Sterner's foot was stepped on by his blocker that Billy destroyed, and then Billy comes up, and he had other important fumble recoveries too in his UT history. Quick final statement, and then we have got to go from each one of them.
Well, my would be number one, Joe, is it's back. Lonnie Searcy, I would never have believed what went on to the young man from Crockett County, how he overcome his adversities, became the man, the father, and the leader on campus, and had to go through what he did, but he doesn't seem bitter about it.
He's not. Jimmy?
And good luck to all our local teams as we kick off the postseason in high school basketball. I believe the D2 schools starting tonight, and I think most of your public schools begin tournament play next week.
Worthy Road will have those D2 schools as they play. And we will remind you that Jackson Christian has their football camp coming up March the 4th. We'll hear more about that, probably hear from either Darby Palmer or Brian Bullard next week. For Gary Lockhart, who always does a super job, and he and Paul Schultze, they're producers, directors. Of course, Paul is executive director. And this is a copyrighted broadcast. Any rebroadcast, retransmission, further use of this contest without the express written consent of Worthy Road Studios is prohibited. As you see on our screen, the direction, the show host, Joe Holloway, Jimmy Butler, Bill Hamilton, of course, our Paul Schultze. We'll be back next week, 9 to 11, and it's time to say thanks for your time this time. Till next time, good night all.